Hi friends, let me just check if the audio is okay or not. Just give me a sec and I'll test if everything is all right. If everything is all right, we could get going with this. Okay, so just a microphone check. Going with this. Hey folks, just wanted to see if the audio is working. Okay. Going with this. Yeah, the audio seems to be well. So yeah, if any one of you has audio issues, do let me know. Otherwise, we're good to get started. So yeah, okay, I have the live stream here. We'll wait for a few more minutes as I'm a couple of minutes early. While we do that, I'll also keep an eye on all the comments that we have. Right? I'll also keep. Is the audio distorted? Somebody says the audio is distorted. I don't see any hiccups on my side. Yeah, I'm also using a microphone that you can't see, but yeah. Hey, good evening, folks. Thank you for joining in, and let's wait for a couple of minutes. Thank you. Let's wait for a couple of minutes while others join in. And yeah, any other questions that you have that you could answer in the meanwhile, just shoot them in the chat. I'll try and answer as many as possible before we get started. And anyway, I'll take lots of questions. Okay, so yeah, my team also says that the audio, everything is good. I'm just checking their message also. So Akhilesh has this question, which is, I got 11 marks. Can I go for a PhD? Akhilesh, a very important thing that you got to. Okay, so it seems the audio is distorted. So let me just fix the audio. I hope this should improve now. I've removed the microphone. Okay, yeah, one of my teammates says the audio is distorted. So I'll just use the inbuilt microphone instead of using an external mic. Is this better? Anybody? Any comments? Okay, let me also just check with the team. Hey, Naveen, is this better now? Okay, so I'm just using the inbuilt microphone in my laptop. It does a pretty good job. I've even recorded videos with the inbuilt microphone. So yeah, if there is any problem with audio, do let me know. In the meanwhile, let's answer some of the questions which are coming in. Right? So the question that Akhilesh has is, I got 11 marks. Can I go for a PhD? Akhilesh, first thing you got to remember is PhD is a lot of commitment. I've seen people who get burnt out in a PhD. So it's very important for you to have the clarity that you're going to work on a PhD for 5 to 6 years on a given area. And 11 marks, to be honest with you, I'll be brutally honest, because that's what matters here. There is no point giving you some what do you call it, some goody advice. Okay, I'll give you a realistic advice. The very fact that you got 11 marks means that you're lacking the foundations. Okay, the GATE exam is for 100 marks, right? 11 marks is quite low. So if you go for a PhD without strong foundations in computer science, you'll never be successful, you'll get burnt out. My suggestion is first build the foundations in computer science and then go for a PhD. That's what I would strongly recommend. But remember, before going for a PhD, please remember that PhD is a long-term commitment. It is not like a master's program where you're ready to graduate in 2 weeks if you don't mess up. It typically takes 5 years in most good universities. So you got to have that commitment to go and to work on it. Okay. So that's what I would suggest. Okay. The next question from Yash is GATE versus MS in US. Very good question, actually. So let's break it, right? So there are many clauses here. So if you're talking about, let's assume you got a good GATE rank, you got into top universities like Indian Institute of Science or IIT Bombay or top IITs, etc. Versus which university in the US? Okay, if you're talking about the top 20 universities in the US, the top 20 universities in the US, especially for computer science, are better than most Indian universities. There are exceptions to this rule, but I'm talking generalizations. The exceptions are, you might find a brilliant professor in one university in India, and if you get to work under him or her, then you're lucky. But otherwise, generally speaking, if you get into top 20 universities in the US, I would strongly recommend you go there. But there is a clause there also, which is the cost of pursuing an MS in the US is non-trivial as compared to masters in India. But the final value proposition you get is very similar. I've hired people who are Stanford grads, who have graduated from Carnegie Mellon, who's graduated from MIT, Berkeley. These are like the top 4 or 5 universities in the US. And they end up, I mean, of course, not all, but a good chunk of them end up as software engineers at top companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, etc. Right? So, but when you go for a master's degree at any of these universities, the tuition fee is non-trivial. The cost of living is non-trivial, right? So you're spending 2 years at a top university in the US versus 2 years in India. At the end of the day, if you're planning not to go for a PhD but to a job, the opportunities that a top university would give you would be very similar to what a top university in India also would give you, right? And moving from India to US, if you think US has better job opportunities, is not very hard if you graduate from the top universities. Okay. Having said that, a top university like Stanford or MIT gives you phenomenal alumni network, which some institutes in India may not be able to provide. Right? Certainly, a Stanford alumni network is far more powerful than almost any major institute, except maybe a couple of IITs in India. Okay, there are a couple of IITs whose alumni network can compete with Stanford, but in general, a Stanford alumni network is extremely powerful, right? So the MS versus GATE, if you get into top 20 universities, you got to be careful. If you have the finances, go ahead, do your MS in the US. But so universities have an upper edge because they have sources and the funding to do more foundational research. That doesn't mean there are not good universities in India to do PhD. Depends on the professor. That's the second thing. If you do not get into the top 20 or 30 universities in the US, cracking GATE, getting a good rank in GATE, and going to India's top universities is the best deal. Trust me. It's a super good deal. Because I have a lot of friends, a lot of seniors and juniors at Indian Institute of Science where I studied, where I have these people who did their masters at IISc and went to do PhD at top universities like Carnegie Mellon, MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, etc. These are my classmates or 1 year senior or juniors, right? So if you want to go to a top university to pursue a PhD, that's very easy. Or if you want to go to a top company and excel there, that's also quite easy by going to India's top institutions, right? So if you do not get into top 20, see, a lot of people, let's be realistic here, right? A lot of people go through the MS route because it's easy. Okay, let's be realistic there. Because you'll get into some tier 3 university, TK, let's go there, let's work as a consultant somewhere, you'll make some $60,000 to $100,000. Be happy there. But you'll not be able to grow much. Because I have family members and friends who have taken that route. Okay, your career growth will be still stunted. If you go to a top university in the US, the game is different. Right? If you're not getting a top university in the US, going through the GATE route to a top university in India is a very good deal. Okay, sounds good. So I think we're a few minutes in. Okay, so let's go here. So let me just, I'll come back to the questions in a while. And today we are kicking off batch 2. So right now we have 2 batches, batch 1 and batch 2. Batch 1 just finished the data structures and algorithms. Batch 2 is just getting started today. We have started off C programming for everyone today. And we chose C programming because students have asked us to do that. Okay. Again, the way we are doing C programming is, again, some of you may have seen the content. There is also free content that we have put out today in the morning for C itself. So the way we are covering C programming is there are students at the wide spectrum of levels, right? There are some students who are preparing for GATE the second time. Okay. There are some students who don't know even the basics of C programming. As an instructor for GATE, my objective is to cater to everyone. I'll try to introduce the basics, but also solve the harder problems. That's what my objective is going to be. I can't just cater to the top students or just to the bottom students. So I need to cater to everyone here. So today, the content that we have put out is a basic overview of C programming. It's a very, very high level overview of C programming. What is the model of a computer that most people don't know actually. Okay. So we've covered some of the basics. From tomorrow onwards, so we are taking this peeling an onion analogy. Okay, so what happens very often is the best way that at least I found that I personally feel comfortable in learning a concept is there are these layers. It's like peeling an onion, right? You peel the first layer. That will give you a high level overview of what the concept is. It will give you a flavor of what this concept is, right? And slowly you peel layer by layer, and keep going deeper into the onion. Okay, that's the strategy that we're employing for most of our concepts. And for every concept we learn, we try to learn the applied aspects of it. For example, for those of you who have seen some of these C videos, you might encounter, we all wrote prime number programs, right? Probably in a BTech first year or so. But why are prime numbers so important? Why are we asked to write prime number, especially prime number programs in C programming? Because prime numbers are so central to whole of computing. Everywhere where you enter a password, whether it's for an e-commerce site or whether it's for a banking site or whether it's for your Gmail, whenever you're entering a password, there is a prime number being used for cryptographic purposes there. Okay, that password that you're entering is going to be encrypted using prime numbers internally. Okay, so we try to give these examples so that your fundamental appreciation of computer science and why you're learning a concept is more is deeper. You're not just learning, okay, how to write a prime number program. You're also learning, why the heck am I learning it? That's a strategy that we've always employed. So for C itself, I've written some notes. So the target is, since C is a small course as such, we'll try and finish it by between 18th to 20th of this month. So we are giving ourselves 15 to 17 days to finish whole of C programming, and we'll do it very, very thoroughly. Okay, the way we are doing this C programming is because there are a lot of students right now who are final year students. They got to prepare for their placements. Okay, so we are doing the C programming language very thoroughly that people who are either preparing for placements or for GATE, both of them should benefit. That's why we'll do lots of hands-on stuff. Okay, so we'll do justice to both objectives. Okay, so I want you to become good at C. I want you to practice a lot. At the same time, you should also be able to solve GATE level questions. Okay, that's the strategy that we're employing here. And just like our data structures algorithms that the batch 1 students already know, for every concept, we'll do live sessions twice a week, just like this, every Wednesday and Saturday. For those of you who don't know, we do Wednesday 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and Saturday 7 to 8:30 p.m. Okay, so it is 1.5 hours that we do twice every week. And the objective is, when we have some practice problems, I solve the problems live. Okay, so that we get to see, and these are, many of these problems are, of course, there are some problems from older question papers, etc. But some of these problems are custom made by us, so that you get to see a wide spectrum of challenging problems to practice for GATE. Okay, so the target is to finish between 18th and 20th. Of course, just like our data structures algorithms, we'll give some time for a refresher at the end of it. For example, we finished our data structures algorithms course like 3 days back, and we gave 3 days for students to revise everything, and we gave a couple of subject tests. Okay, similarly, we'll do it for C. We'll start off every day, you'll get 2 to 3 hours of content. Okay, again, we'll try and balance it out because we want to finish it by 18th to 20th. If there is a need, we might push out more content. If you are falling short, if you're moving at a good speed, we'll give you, I think we'll give you 2 hours or so content. I think today morning you got about 2.5 hours of content, right? So please try to finish the content that you're getting every day, that day itself. And we'll start giving you practice problems on regular basis. Once you progress a little in the course, there'll be enough practice problems that we can give you. And please solve those practice problems. And the UI that you'll get to practice these problems is exactly the same UI that you have for GATE. Okay, we're trying to mimic, every practice test you take will be very similar to the GATE UI so that you get accustomed to it. Okay, so at the end of it, we'll give you ample time to revise, to practice more questions and things like that. Okay, so the very, very important thing, especially for our batch 2 students, batch 1 students already know this because I've told them multiple times in multiple live sessions. For our batch 2 students, the very important thing is conceptual understanding is necessary but not sufficient. Let me explain. Suppose you learn all the concepts in C, very good. But if you don't solve problems, if you don't practice solving problems, you will not crack a GATE. It's as simple as that. Let's not fool ourselves with any other logic. Okay, in GATE, nobody asks you the concepts. It is not your subjective exam that many universities have. GATE is all about, given a problem, can you solve it within the stipulated amount of time or not? It's very simple, right? So if you don't practice problem solving, you will not get GATE. It's as simple as that. That's why we focus so much on practice problems. Like for data structures algorithms, we almost gave 2 practice sets every week. For the last 6 weeks, we've been giving 2 practice tests every week, right? Which basically means we almost gave, I think, some 11 or 12 practice tests and then 2 subject tests. While learning theory is important, practicing is, I mean, I would say a lot of people confuse themselves. I've seen a lot of people who are preparing for GATE who go through all the conceptual concepts, don't practice, they don't get GATE rank. It's as simple as that. Okay, one of the biggest reasons why most people don't get GATE ranks is because they don't practice. And we want our students not to do that mistake. That's why you will constantly get practice problems, practice sessions, and we'll conduct these live sessions anyway. where if there is a practice set, we will solve it as part of this, right? So again, by the way, for the batch 1 students who are joining in, I hope you have revised data structures algorithms. As we have discussed last time, we are reorganizing some of the content, so that, because some of you have asked for some advanced concepts and proofs, right? I've tried to give some proof, not very rigorous proof, but directionally how some of these algorithms fall into the greedy framework, or some of these algorithms fall into the dynamic programming framework, etc., without going too deep into the proofs. Okay. I hope all of you from the first batch have finished most of data structures algorithms. See, we all have to go together. Okay, this is like a lot of teamwork, and it's my moral obligation to take all of you with me, not just me, the whole team at Applied Course, right? The whole team at Gate Applied Course. Our job is not to leave anybody behind, whether you're the top student or the bottom student. Our job is to take all of you through this journey and try to get you the best results. Okay. Having said that, yeah, so we are kicking off Gate. You'll be getting 2 to 3 hours of content. Again, I hope if you just do maybe 2.5 hours of content, we should be up to date. We should try and finish everything by 18th or so. So we've also given you a schedule for this. There might be small changes here and there based on the amount of content and amount of confusion. Suppose if there is a concept where students have asked us more questions, we answer them examples or read the content slides. Okay, so we are very dynamic in that nature, that our content constantly evolves with student feedback. And for all of our batch 2 students, if you have any question, so let's say you are watching a video, under that video there is a comment section. Just leave your comment, you get an answer as soon as possible. Okay, whatever that question is, please leave the comment. Any question you have, we'll try and respond back to you as soon as possible. Anywhere you are stuck, anywhere you need help, always email us. Our email address is there on gate.appliedcourse.com, or give us a ring. We are here to help you. Okay, it's very, very important that our students succeed. It is so, we're very clear about it. That's why we're putting in the effort to do live sessions. We're putting in the effort to create original questions, practice problems, right? And also all of this content with practical aspects, right? So our objective is student success at the end of the day. Okay, so kicking off batch 2 also. Thanks a lot for all the people who are joining us for batch 2. And yeah, any questions you have, I'll start answering a few questions that we have right now. So let's start seeing this. Okay, so I've answered Gate. Okay, so somebody's asking about batch 3. We are hoping to start it around around the 20th of April, roughly, give or take a couple of days here and there. So if you're interested to join our batch 3, do give us a ring. Even if you're interested to join our batch 2, there is still a couple of days time you can join in, because what we're doing is very foundational. C, you can join in and jump in. Other students who have joined the data structures algorithms a few days here, even after the kickoff of the course, could easily cope up with it, right? Because the initial concepts are going to be simple, much simpler than the later concepts, right? So if you're interested to join batch 2 itself, you can join for at least a few days now. Batch 3, we're planning to kick off on April 20th. Okay, so question from Alok, a very good question actually. I'm preparing Gate full-time. Should I solve Gate 30-year question and also finishing videos? Yes, actually we'll make you finish all the last 30-year questions. Don't worry about it. So if you're following our course content, if you're taking our course, we will ensure that you will solve almost all of the major questions in the last 30 years. And in addition to that, we'll make you solve lots of other advanced problems also. Okay, so if you stick to our practice sessions, please don't skip our practice sessions. So you'll have practice sets on a regular basis for every subject as we progress through the subject. For example, for C, maybe in the initial week or so, or initial few days, you may not have a lot of practice sessions because we're just learning the basics. There aren't enough gate level questions that we can set at that level. But as we progress, for example, when we reach functions, or when we reach loops, or when we reach pointers, there'll be a ton of practice problems that will shoot at you. Okay, we will make you practice as much as we can. Of course, if you still have time, okay, that's important. This is what we have also communicated to our batch 1 students. Suppose you have already finished our practice problems, you have finished our video content. The next thing that you can do here is just reach out to us. We'll give you additional problems. These need not be multiple choice questions, but we'll give you additional problems and pointers to additional problems that you can solve. Okay, if you're preparing for Gate for full time, and if you're doing it long term, and if you've already prepared for Gate earlier, you might be able to, you're certainly one of our top students, right? Because you can do it faster. But since you have more time at your disposal, you should practice more. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. For data structures and algorithms, we've asked all of our students who have finished the practice test to start solving some of the questions from the Introduction to Algorithms, the CLRS book, the Cornell, Leisers and Rives-Stein book, right? Because that book, exercise problems are world class. If you look at many past GATE questions, actually that's a standard textbook at all IITs, IASC, all the major institutes. Most of the professors who are setting up these question papers for GATE actually use the textbook in their courses. So you'll also notice that many past questions for GATE are actually modifications of these exercise problems, right? Similarly for C or for any subject for that matter, we'll give you additional material, especially from standard textbooks. The best way to prepare once you've finished all of our practice problems, all of our videos, if you still have time, pick up the standard textbooks for every subject. Okay, this is true for every subject. Pick up the best textbooks. Look at, just you can Google search for it. Look at the textbooks that Stanford University is using. Look at textbooks that IITs, IASC, all the major universities are using. Start solving the exercise problems there. Right? Those are world class. If you can solve them, GATE will feel like cakewalk. Okay, to be honest. So if you have time, you can always do that. Okay. So the next question here is, I'll try and answer as many as possible. I can't promise that I'll answer everything, but I'll do my best. Okay, so the next question here is MTech versus PhD in top IITs and IASC, which is better? Folks, a very, very important thing. PhD is a long-term commitment. Don't get into a PhD without having full clarity that you really want to pursue a PhD. PhD is like yagna. Okay, I call it like yagna. Okay, it is not trivial. It is a very solo journey. I've seen phenomenal people who get demotivated during their PhD. Okay, so if you're very, very clear that yes, I want to spend next 5 years solving this problem in so and so area, only when you're 100% clear, go for a PhD. If you're not, even if you have a small iota of doubt, even if you have small 1% doubt, I recommend you go for MTech or ME or MSc, whatever programs these top institutes have. Spend 2 years there, and you can convert your master's program to PhD program. Most universities allow you to do it if you have decent CGPA. Okay, that's the best way, because you first get a flavor of research. You might glorify PhD as a BTech student, right, without knowing what PhD entails and how hard, how much commitment is required for a PhD. My strong recommendation is please join for a master's program at IITs or IASC, whichever you get, and then convert that to PhD, or complete your master's and then join for a PhD. And a lot of the work that you've done in your master's can be, if you convert to, especially at IASC, okay, if you join for a master's program and if you convert it to a PhD program, you convert it, okay, then some of the work in your master's will be considered towards your PhD. Again, it depends on the professor, but it's better to do it, because if you realize 1 year down the line that I don't want this, you can come out with a master's degree, right? But if you get into a PhD, you can't get out for 5 years. Okay, you're stuck with a professor. If you don't like the professor, or if your relationship with the professor is not working out well, or you don't like the problem the professor is working on, or you don't like the sub problem that you're asked to work on, it's going to be a nightmare, trust me. I've seen people who got burnt out in PhDs. Okay, my strong suggestion, if you don't have first-hand experience of research, is to first do a master's and then go for a PhD. Okay. So next question, if C program is considered so efficient, what is the need for Python and Java? Very good question. See, so this is a very, very big misconception. Every language has its purpose. Okay, a lot of people think, I know C, I don't have to learn anything else. That's ridiculous. I at least have learned 8 to 9 languages and have used them in the real world. Let me start counting. I've used C, I've used C++, and not at college level. In the real world, in the last decade of experience, I've actually programmed in C, C++, Java, Python, Scala, R is a statistical programming language, Perl. Let me count how many of them. I think of 6, 7 of them. I've written a few VB scripts here and there. I've shell scripts, right? Yeah, so about 9 languages or 9 frameworks in which I've coded up. Okay, every language has a purpose. C is extremely good if you want fast computations. It's superb. But on the other hand, somebody is asking me about Java. If you want to write code once and make it run lots of other platforms, take for example Android, right? Your Android operating system, most of the code that you write, your Android apps are mostly written in Java. That's because the hardware, because Huawei can make one hardware, Samsung can make other hardware, OnePlus can make other hardware. Whatever is the hardware, the app that you write in Java can be executed in all of these hardware. Right? That's one of the reasons why Android chose Java as a programming language for its development across multiple hardwares. Right? So it gives you that portability of code across multiple hardwares, across multiple chips, right? Which is much harder in C. It is possible, but much harder in C. Okay. Similarly, what about Python? So if you give me a real world problem, if it takes me 100 lines of code to write in C, okay, it might take me about 60, 70 lines in Java. I can write it in 10 lines in Python. Okay. The beauty of Python is it is so succinct, it is so cute, it is so easy to learn. I know 5th class and 6th class students who are learning Python right now. It's extremely easy to learn, right? And you can write very short amount of code and get good results. But lot of times, so I'll give you an example, right? A lot of machine learning scientists and AI folks like me write code in Python. Okay, Python is our favorite language. But a lot of what we write in Python, actually, it implicitly, inherently, it uses a lot of C++ code. Course videos where there is this toolbox called TensorFlow, which is like one of the best toolboxes that Google built for AI. Okay, for a sub area of AI called deep learning today. It is phenomenally good. Okay, and I can write code for TensorFlow in Python, but internally Python is actually using C code because I need speed. So wherever I need speed, C++ is of the essence. Every program, if I want to build a web app, oh, I forgot to count PHP and JavaScript earlier. Okay, if I want to build a website, I would most likely build it in PHP, Python, and JavaScript, right? So again, for every task, there is a specific programming language design. Okay, you cannot say I learn one programming language and live my whole life with it. That's not going to work out. You should have the skill to learn new programming languages. Once your foundations are clear, it's so easy to pick up the basics of a programming language. Of course, becoming an expert still takes time, but learning the basics is very, very straightforward. Okay. So what are these questions here? One second. Sorry. Sorry, I scrolled a little down. So I'll try to answer one by one in this order, right? So, okay, so I have a drop year without job. So would it create any problem with it during admissions or placements at IIT, NIT, as I would be trying again for GATE? My strong recommendation is, yeah, it may not put a big dent during placements at IITs and NITs, but some HR folks might ask you that question. Okay, and of course you can justify saying that I dropped to prepare for GATE. But my suggestion is, instead of dropping an year, if you already have a job, why don't you take up the job, learn some skills a job, and prepare for GATE parallelly? Because it looks like you've already prepared for GATE once. So why? Because what happens if you don't get a good GATE rank next year? You'll have that 1 year lost. I've seen a lot of classmates of mine at IISc who are working professionals who got single-digit GATE ranks. So it is very possible. It's not impossible. Of course, you need to put in extra effort. But if you're not willing to put in effort, GATE is not for you. Okay, at some point in life, we all have to put in the effort. My suggestion is, instead of dropping an year, if you have a job offer, please join that job. But be very careful to allocate specific times of the day. It could be morning 4 to 7 or evening, and of course, you might have to spend more time, right? Or you could say from evening, let's say 10 to 2, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., you'll only prepare for GATE. Okay, you got to have that focus. There are lots of people who work and prepare for GATE and crack GATE good rank. So it's very possible. So my suggestion is, instead of dropping an year, why don't you join in a job? That's my strong recommendation. Okay. So, okay. Somebody's asking, please continue this type of live sessions. Yeah, certainly. I plan to do these live sessions for a while, so don't worry about it. So these are fun. I also enjoy them. Of course, there is a lot of, for some of the live sessions, there is a lot of preparation that goes in, but I'm personally enjoying this journey. So I'll try to do as many live sessions as possible. Again, I have a terrific team which will start participating in these live sessions once they're up to speed. And we also have some other faculty members who would join in these live sessions as time progresses. Okay, I think we need to give a fair share to all the participants, right? It's very wrong if I just hog all of the limelight, right? Because we have a terrific team whom you don't see, but whom you might talk to on phone. They've put in some of these questions or some of the answers that you get. There is a huge amount of effort that is put in the team. Please don't think that this is one person's effort. Certainly not. There is a huge team who are putting in enormous amounts of effort, and some of them would be doing the live sessions, and some of them are better than me in some aspects, certainly. Okay, so we will continue these live sessions throughout this year, at least for GATE 2020. Okay, that's the plan. So we're trying to as often as possible. Right now we are doing twice a week. We'll see how often, however often we can do it, we'll do it. Okay, so please don't worry about that. This gentleman here says, I watch, so I'm going to start watching lectures from tomorrow. I'm preparing for 2 hours content every day. What should I do in the remaining time of the day? Very good question. So what you could do is, if you have not finished the data structures algorithms content, it's already up. You can start watching it and finishing data structures and algorithms parallel to C. That's one option. Second, because you're preparing full time, right? Second option is just reach out to us. We'll give you tons of problems, practice problems that you can solve, right? So in addition to the practice problems we give, the reason we designed the 2 to 3 hours per day is because there are some people who are working professionals or students, and we need to cater to them also. I can't just go at full throttle, right? Having said that, we will try and finish for batch 1, we'll try and finish all of the subjects by late August to early September. Again, we'll start increasing the frequency and increasing the amount of content slowly. We started off with just 1.5 to 2 hours. Now we are going to 2 to 2.5 hours. We'll go to 3 hours slowly. Okay, and we'll try and finish for the batch 1. We'll try and finish by early September, and for batch 2, we'll try and finish by mid to late September. Okay, that's the plan right now. Okay, so if you have time on your hand, please pick up the standard textbooks, start solving exercise problems. If you're not sure, give us a ring or send us an email. We'll point you in the right direction. Okay, so. Okay, so some of our teammates are also answering. Very good. Okay. Should I do some research on content? What do you mean by content? Okay, so by content, if you mean, so if you have time, you can also pick up a standard textbook and start reading the textbook. Okay, because there will be some aspects in the textbook that I may not have covered, obviously, because I had to make a choice, right? See, GATE is about preparation within a limited span of time. Right? I have that constraint. For example, when we were doing data structures algorithms, I really felt bad, and I wanted to do proofs of some of the brilliant algorithms like Dijkstra's algorithm, for all the major algorithms, right? I wanted to, especially graph theoretical algorithms, I wanted to prove them. But then if I start proving them, each algorithm would take like 40 to 45 minutes of proofs. Okay, and that would just bloat up the whole course. And that is not part of GATE syllabus. GATE questions never came. No question in GATE was ever asked about proofs of some of these algorithms, at least till now. And assuming that GATE continues the same standard, right? So we can make a fair assumption that these would not be required for GATE, right? So if you have time on your hand, we'll refer you to good textbook. For C, Dennis Ritchie's textbook is the best textbook. I think I still have it. I still have a copy on the book rack here of all the books that I've been using from my BTech. So I still have the Dennis Ritchie from 2003, right? I still have the CLRS book. I think it was edition 2, I think, second edition when I was studying. So I still have that, which I bought in 2004. I still have some of those old books, right? So Dennis Ritchie, it doesn't have as many practice problems, but the theory content is brilliant. Okay. Similarly, for data structures algorithms, CLRS is a brilliant book. Civic is another brilliant book, right? So if you have time on your side, just reach out to us. We'll give you tons of stuff that you can read, or better still, practice. Okay, because practicing, I would suggest, since your foundations are there, it's better you practice more and more. Okay, of course, if you have still more time left, go read. Sounds good. Okay. So where can I get the content for C programming? So what you can do here is you can just go to our site, gate.applied course. There is some sample content for data structures algorithms and also C. Go check it out. Okay. And we are not following any specific book or specific resource for it. Of course, I'm using Dennis Ritchie as the reference book, but I try to teach in such a way that So in such a way that you get the foundational concepts right. Why are we doing this? How is this useful? And how do all these things fit in? Okay, when you learn a ton of concepts, it's very hard to see the bigger picture, right? Because there's so many concepts out there, and you want to learn how everything fits in. So that's my style of teaching, and of course, my team also helps me extensively in preparing the content. So my suggestion is, I have one style of teaching which is very applied in nature, while I go deep enough to cover all the concepts. So I recommend you check out some of our free content and let us know your feedback. We are here to listen to you and improve as time progresses. Okay, sounds good. Okay, Pratik, thank you very much. Yeah, you talked about prime numbers and cryptography. I think these are the things that make learning fun. Okay, there is small nuggets of information. It doesn't take a lot of time for me to tell you this concept. For example, because I never knew it as a BTech student. When I was in BTech first year, everybody would say, "Oh, write the program for prime number." I always thought, why the heck are these guys so stuck on prime numbers? I didn't understand it till the time I was in my BTech final year, when I learned about cryptography. Okay, so for me to figure out why prime numbers are important, it took me 4 years. Only in my BTech final year, when I had this subject called network security and cryptography, that I learned prime numbers, how critical prime numbers are. Similarly, we learn about groups, right, in discrete mathematics. It took me to why groups or lattices are important, right, in computer science. What happens is there are lots of these bits and pieces. Most of us, because they're taught in bits and pieces without these links and connections, we don't understand how everything is connected. And that is extremely important to being a good engineer. I cannot emphasize this enough. All these interlinks are important. For example, a lot of people, they write programs, they're very good at it, but they don't understand this fundamental concept that reading from RAM is much faster than reading from disk. Similarly, reading from network or from a LAN is almost, right now, in today's speeds, they're almost the same speed as reading from hard disks. And these foundational concepts, again, these concepts may be learned in operating systems. Some of these concepts are learned in database systems, but all these concepts are to be learned with interlinks, so that your appreciation of the concept increases, and you'll be able to apply them in new contexts tomorrow. Okay, so I try to put some of these things which I learned in my own experience by connecting the dots. As Steve Jobs would put it, you can only connect the dots looking backward, not looking forward. Right? So these are dots that I connect looking backward for the last 14 years of my computer science education. Okay, and I try to do the best. If I miss something, I'll keep adding on to it. So what is the best way to become a good programmer? Very good question. This is by Ronak. Very good question. So if you want to be a good programmer, there are only two things. First, okay, there are three things. Okay, let me just add them up. Okay, first you have to know one programming language well. It could be C, C++, Java, Python, Ruby, you name it, doesn't matter. One programming language you need to know. Very important. Second thing you need to know is data structures and algorithms. Okay, foundational concept. And the third skill that you need is problem solving. If you can see, if you go to any interview, right, at Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc., the most important thing, if you're a fresher, if you're a fresh BTech student or an MTech student, most of your interview will be about programming in any language of your choice. Number one, it will be about data structures, algorithms. 90% of your interview will be just about these three concepts. Because these companies believe that these three are the most foundational concepts. And if you have a good grip on these three concepts, you can pick up any other concept in computer science with ease. Okay, so to be a good programmer, you need to know one programming language inside out, and you need to know data structures, algorithms. Third thing is you need to practice. Programming is all about practice. There is actually, I would say, most learning is about practice. Okay, even if you want to become good at calculus, how do you become good at calculus? By practicing. How do you become good at machine learning or AI? By solving tons of problems. How do you become good at programming? By solving lots of programming problems and participating in programming contests. Right? So that's my suggestion. There is no shortcut here, folks. Unless you are a prodigy, unless you're a genius, there are no shortcut. All of us have to put in that effort. Okay. So the next question is, Oh, somebody's asking about, yeah, so I had to, again, I think one of our teammates already explained that. So we had this concept called NP completeness, NP hard, and P. Okay. I wanted to cover it in algorithms and data structures at the end of it. I struggled almost for like 12 to 13 hours writing notes just for that single topic. The problem is explaining that topic without you knowing what a Turing machine is, what a non-deterministic Turing machine is still hollow. I could have taught you with some high-level intuition, but still your conceptual understanding is still incomplete. Right? You need to understand what a Turing machine is, and you need to understand what is a non-deterministic Turing machine. Once you understand these concepts, understanding concepts of NP, P, or NP complete and NP hard become much easier. I struggled a lot because teaching you Turing machines, non-deterministic Turing machines, is what we cover in a subject called theory of computation. Okay, and certainly I promise you we'll cover NP completeness, NP hard, and lots of related problems, undecidability, all of that in detail when we learn TOC. So this concept, I'm just putting it on hold because I couldn't. I've seen lots of videos, I've seen lots of notes. I was not satisfied with the explanation because I cannot teach you what is NP without teaching you what is non-deterministic Turing machine. Okay, so while I could take a shortcut, I didn't want to take a shortcut there. I struggled to write notes. So I thought it's best if we keep it on hold. That's why we didn't push out that content. We will revisit that content at the end of theory of computation. Okay, so when we learn theory of computation, we will spend considerable amount of time on concepts like undecidability or the halting. There's very nice. That's a brilliant logic problems. I mean, that's like a brilliant problem. Okay, so the halting problem, similarly, Turing machines, non-deterministic Turing machines, NP completeness, NP hard, and P. Okay, we'll revisit those topics in TOC. I promise you that. Okay. So towers of Hanoi problem, we'll cover it in C programming. I kept it aside to cover it in C programming because in C programming also I wanted to touch upon some recursion. So we'll add it in C programming. Okay, so we'll cover that topic here. And by the way, if there is any topic that we have missed, please do let us know. It is very possible that we might miss out a small topic here and there. We will certainly revisit them or add that content post facto. Okay, so the towers of Hanoi, I'm just, again, what we'll do is we'll do it as part of C programming, and we'll also add it to we'll add the same video to data structures algorithms also. Okay, so not a problem at all. So Shubham asks, if you are preparing for 2 hours each day, would it be sufficient? Okay, my suggestion is this, Shubham, very simple. So if you are able to spend 2 hours consistently every day and finish the practice problems that we are giving and finish the content that we are giving. Again, we understand that different students learn at different speeds. I've seen some of our students who have videos at 2x, finish them in 1 hour. Okay, and then finish off the practice problems also very fast. There are some students who watch 4 hours for a 2-hour content sometimes because that concept is harder. Not for all the videos, but some videos. They might have to go back, write the notes, understand it, etc. Right? So assuming that you're an average to above average student, right? 2 hours a day, at least for now. But as you're coming closer to the exam, you need to spend more hours, maybe 3 hours a day or so. But since we have ample amount of time right now, we have close to 10 months of time, right? For the next gate. So if you spend consistently 2 hours every day for 7 days a week, probably slightly more over the weekends, I think you're in a good position. I'm assuming here that you're an average to above average student. Okay. So again, that you can decipher by looking at our videos and seeing how much time it's taking for you to understand our videos. If you're able to understand our videos at 1x, I would consider you as an average student. Okay. So somebody is asking about, for batch 2, we'll start with C programming, but if you have time on your side, please feel free to go finish data structures algorithms also parallelly, because all of the content, all of the practice sets, everything is there. Especially for those of you who are doing it long term, start the C with us, but go back and finish data structures and algorithms because that whole course is ready anyway. With practice problems, subject tests, everything is ready. So if you have time, please go back and do it. Okay, and remember, as a team, our objective is to even cater to the weakest student. I cannot do the course just for the fastest students. Okay, I need to hold the hand of every student across the spectrum. That's my moral obligation. So some of you who are brilliant, some of you who can digest concepts faster, please give time for others to follow through it. But if you have finished your work, do reach out to us. We'll give you references, additional stuff that you can keep learning. So so somebody's asking about book. Dennis Ritchie's book is the best book that I know of for C programming. Because but of course, once you watch the videos, your foundations will be clear. Dennis Ritchie gives you much deeper perspective on each concept. Literally in 3 lines, he'll give you so much of knowledge that I might take like 15 minutes to give you, right? So my strong recommendation is Dennis Ritchie's book, because it is the gold mine. Okay, that is hard to beat. Okay, I'm actually referring to Dennis Ritchie's book myself when I write my notes. So the next question is, yeah, by the way, we'll also revisit, we'll cover every subject for every batch. Okay, we will revisit data structures algorithms for batch 2 also. Okay, we'll just come to it. That's it. For batch 1, we have finished data structures algorithms. Batch 2 and batch 1 are now doing C. So we'll keep new batches, and we'll ensure that every batch finishes every subject and enough practice. That's our goal. Okay, we have to do justice to every batch. So we'll ensure the order may be slightly different, but every batch by the end of it will be ready for GATE. Okay, if you stick with us. Of course, the later batches you are in, the more content you'll have to do on regular basis. Obviously, right? Because you're closer to the examination. Okay, having said that. So somebody is asking, strict binary tree was not covered. So do let us know which concept has not been covered. Again, while covering concepts, students, if I start teaching you data structures algorithms, I can spend 5 years just teaching you data structures algorithms. I'll just pick up Donald Knuth's books, volume 1 to I think volume 5 or 6 right now. So there is so much content in data structures algorithms that you can spend years learning it. Okay, our objective is to help you crack GATE, and hence we have to make trade-offs. So we are trying to cover all the concepts which have ever been asked in GATE, or which are most likely to be asked in GATE. There might be one odd aspect like towers of Hanoi that we have not covered because I wanted to cover it in C programming, right? So so for example, we didn't cover red-black trees. I'll give you an example, right? We didn't cover red-black trees. Why? Because it's out of syllabus. It's never been asked about, right? There is another concept called B trees. We have not covered in data structures algorithms because we'll cover that in databases. Because databases is where B trees are actually super powerful. That's where they're actually used in the real world, and that's why we'll cover it there. Similarly, NPP, NPhardness, all of these problems, we'll cover that in theory of computation. So we are trying to find the optimal place to cover each of these concepts. Of course, we are not saying we know all the answers. We are here to listen to your feedback. If there is anything important that we missed out, please do send us an email. We'll consider that. If there is something that we missed out, we'll surely add that content. Okay. Okay, so somebody's asking about the competitive coding course. We are still working on it. Just give us some time. We were planning to do it by April 1st, but because of all this content that we have to create for GATE and for AI course, we're slightly delayed, but we will have this month for sure. Okay, we are just waiting to launch a thorough course without taking any shortcuts, a full-fledged end-to-end course. So please give us some time. We'll have it ready. Okay, thank you. So we provide practice problems on regular basis. For example, for data structures algorithms, we gave 2 practice sets of 15, at least 15 problems each every week. So every week you are solving some 30 problems. Okay. Again, it depends on the subject that we're dealing with. For example, for C, today we did not have practice problems because we're still in the very early stages. As we progress more, I'll give you more practice problems. Okay. So you will get ample amount of practice. Don't worry about it. Okay. You could talk to students in batch 1. They have had enough of practice, to be honest. Actually, I felt I've had enough by solving these problems myself. Okay. So somebody's asking about how to revise properly. My suggestion is this. So right now, what we're doing here is we give content only for 5 or 6 days a week. And then we give time to revise all the concepts and also solve all the practice problems that we give that week. Okay. That's one way of revision. The second is at the end of subject, go back and revise. Okay. The best way to revise is to practice. Okay. Because reading through theory, you'll not remember because you'll not be able to connect the dots. Solving problems is much better because you'll remember the concepts much better. Okay. So my strong recommendation is, just give me a sec. So my strong recommendation is this. So this is a very standard strategy in learning. Okay, so you repeat after 2 or 3 days, and then you repeat after 1 week, and then you repeat after 3 to 4 weeks, and then focus a lot more on practice. Okay, that will give you all the revision that you need. Okay, so that's something that I would strongly recommend. Somebody is asking about more time for data structures algorithms. So unfortunately, we have to continue the course for the rest of the students. I understand that you might be slightly delayed, but my suggestion is this. While you're doing C content, why don't you parallelly do some of the algorithms data structure content every day? Okay, I strongly recommend you do that. Otherwise, we'll not be able to finish the content by early September. Those students who joined us in batch 1, right? They have made this commitment very early on to work hard. From Feb 15 of from late February onwards, they've been with us. So it becomes my obligation for them to finish everything by early to mid September, preferably by early September, so that they have 3-4 months more to prepare. Okay, so I cannot delay this any further. If you're backlogged, please continue with C, but also spend 1 hour extra every day finishing your or catching up with your data structures algorithms content. Okay, that's what I would strongly recommend. Unfortunately, I cannot delay everyone else. I mean, I have to be realistic here, right? Thank you, folks, for your appreciation. I also would love to hear some critical feedback, because that's how we improve. And I'm very happy for the kind words that some of you have been saying. And we are still learning. To be honest, I've never taught C. This is the first time I'm teaching C. I've taught more advanced subjects like artificial intelligence, machine learning, advanced mathematics, etc. I've never taught C programming. So this is also a fun exercise for me. This reminds me of my BTech days. And I try to do the best that I can. If I fall short anywhere, please do let me know. As I told you, this is also a learning experience for me and for the whole team, for us. So we feel that we are students so we are also students in a way. We are students who are learning how to teach and how to help students. Okay, so we are also learning here along with you, except that you're learning a slightly different thing and we're learning a different thing, except that we all are learning here. Okay, sounds good. So sorry, I didn't get this question. So Abhishek is asking by end of September. I didn't get this. I didn't get your question, Abhishek, but I'll try to answer as much as what I understood, right? So what we're planning is this. Again, this is tentative plan. So we'll try and finish data structures algorithms. Sorry, we'll try and finish C programming by 20th. Some of our students have exams then. Okay, some of our students have exams, especially the fourth year, final year students, right? So we have to somehow accommodate for them, but we'll still try not to stop the content. We might do some subjects like calculus. So we're trying to do discrete mathematics mostly after C, and or to do aptitude. Okay, because aptitude is easier for you to cope up with even later, right? So we'll decide on that based on what our students request us. And so we want to start either discrete mathematics, or we'll cover some concepts of discrete mathematics which are not too critical for GATE during the period when most of our students have exams, right? Most students have exams from April 20th to May 10th or so, right? So we will be giving slightly easier content or not so important content for GATE during that period, or easier content that people can go back and revise faster later, right? And starting from May 10th onwards, we will go because it's summer vacation, right? We have more time to finish. So we'll try and double down things from May 10th onwards and go into more core subjects like all of discrete mathematics, right? That's discrete mathematics, probability, statistics. We'll finish all of the engineering mathematics and computer science related discrete mathematics, and then go into other core subjects like databases, computer networks, compiler design, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So somebody's asking, somebody's asking when batch 3 will start. It will start around April 20th. Please give us a ring on the phone number on our website. We'll try to help you through that. Yeah, so I understand that some of you have exams. We'll try and do either aptitude. Again, please don't think aptitude is trivial. Aptitude in English will get you approximately 15 marks. And 15 marks could be the difference between rank 1 and I think, at least if the paper is easy, it could be the difference between rank 1 and rank 500, 600, right? So please don't think aptitude is trivial or you can skip it, or English is trivial or you can skip it, right? So please, so of course there are some topics we'll discuss with all of our students, and we'll try and do those subjects that you can either quickly follow up later, or that are of less weightage during your exams time. Okay, sounds good. So somebody is asking if whether I'll teach from scratch that ECE students also can follow. My suggestion is, please, that's what we are trying to do. We try to teach each of the concepts from the very, very foundations, right? Because we get students from the spectrum of backgrounds. Okay, we have students who have not gone through any subject carefully during their BTech. It's my job to help them also, right? So we try to help every student across the spectrum of aptitudes and backgrounds. So my suggestion, if you're an ECE student, is check out our free content. See how much you're able to follow. If you're able to follow, very good. You can sign up for it. If you're not able to follow, please do give us a ring or send us an email, and we would love to hear your feedback and improve our content based on that, right? So thank you very much for that. So somebody's asking about motivation, right? So I think I've done this for batch 1 students also. See, for you to crack GATE, there are 2 ways to get motivated. They're basically, see, I love philosophy. I also love psychology to some extent. Let's ask yourself what drives you. Very simple question. Okay, either money drives people. Lot of people are driven by money. Okay, I joke with some of my friends that if IITs and placements say we will not place, or if companies say we are not going to IITs and ISC for placements from next year, people will stop. 99% of people will stop taking GATE or IIT JEE for that matter. Okay, so to be honest, or even CAT for that matter, right? So the first thing is, if money motivates you, it's very clear that cracking GATE will give you a huge lift in your potential salaries over time. Okay, it's very, very straightforward. I mean, I can tell you numbers. These are humongous. Between especially if you're coming from a small engineering college, or if you have a job offer at not so good company, the difference that top institutions can provide you, okay, in terms of job opportunities over a long period, are humongous. If you're willing to work hard, obviously. If you go to a top institute and don't work hard, nobody can save you. Okay, so that's one. Money could be one motivator. Other motivator is knowledge and the quality of work that you do. Okay, so because both of them are related, right? If you want to work on more cutting edge stuff, and if you want to work on more intellectually challenging stuff, certainly IITs will take you either through PhD or by joining top-notch companies. The quality of work that you do is certainly going to be significantly better than if you don't, especially if you're from a smaller engineering college. You'll most likely, I'm not saying everyone, there are exceptions to the rule. Majority of students from small engineering colleges end up in services companies. There are exceptions to the rule, by the way. I've seen some phenomenal people who are my colleagues, or who are people that I've worked with Amazon, who are from small engineering colleges, but they're exception, they're not the norm. Okay, so typically the quality of work that you get to do at a top-notch company is certainly way better, not probably in the short run, but in the long run. If you think about a career of 30, 40 years, the quality of work that you get to do at a top institution or a top company, or by doing a PhD at a top university, is going to be far better than services company. In general, there are exceptions to this rule again. Okay, so there are only 2 things broadly that motivate people: knowledge and good work, or money, or both, or all of these 2. Okay, all of them sometimes matter. Okay, you want to do great work, you are intellectually curious, and you want to make a ton of money. Okay, if both of these things equally motivate you, then certainly, I mean, see, there is this very nice logic. Okay, all forms of external motivation will die out in no time. It is the internal fire that actually takes you in the long run. GATE is hard. If I just launch, of course, I will give you some videos about how to stay motivated and all of that. But fundamentally speaking, if you have the fire in your belly to fight it out and to be good, and to be a good software engineer, to be successful in life, you don't require any external motivation. If you're a person who needs external motivation, then you have to ask yourself, what is that really motivates me? Why the heck am I working so hard to prepare for GATE? Some of you even dropping a year, right? Ask yourself this very fundamental question: what drives me? every day morning when you wake up, or at least a few times in a day, tell yourself, this is why I am studying for GATE. That's it. You're motivated already. Even those of you who are not motivated, already motivated. Okay. So I'll try to help you not lose the focus. I'll do the best that I can. But if you have the fire in the belly, even God can't stop you. Okay. So, okay. So I think this, okay. Okay. Sounds good. Teammates called and explained me how to prepare and support. Great. Thank you for the feedback about our team who has helped you to stay on focus and things like that. Very good. Somebody's asking about TC. Please check out our free content. You'll know whether you can understand the content or not. How to increase accuracy while solving problems? What can I do to increase accuracy? Very good question. To be honest, I make a lot of mistakes when I solve problems myself. Okay, so it is something. See, there are two ways to improve it. One, probably your accuracy is dropping primarily because you're being caught up in the silly mistakes. So for every mistake you do, diagnose that and keep it in the back of your mind and tell yourself that if I do this mistake, it could literally mean not going to a good institute. Okay, that's what, because I'm very, very prone to silly mistakes. Okay, I used to have that habit. I still have that habit. Okay, the moment I see a question, I say, oh, I know this answer, let's do it. So the way I became more cautious is I underline every word that is important. You might have noticed this in my live sessions also. I try to underline those parts which are important in a question so that I don't miss that out. Okay, so if you're doing silly mistakes, take a split second and ask yourself, is this answer right or not? And whenever you have made a silly mistake, go back, diagnose the problem and ask yourself, why did you make that mistake? Okay, that's one approach. Most likely by accuracy, I think you mean making silly mistakes. The second approach is your foundational problems. If you have conceptual gaps in your understanding, obviously you should go back and read the theory and practice more. There is no escaping that fact. Okay. Yes, somebody's asking about verbal ability. Yes, we will be covering verbal ability also. We are trying to, frankly speaking, I have no background in verbal ability because I never prepared for verbal ability. Either I will do it or we are trying to find, we have already discussed with a few very good people, very good instructors who teach verbal ability for CAT, for other top exams. So we are trying to get somebody as an instructor for this course who teaches verbal ability for the other competitive exams also. If you get somebody very good, or else I'll cover it. Don't worry, we'll cover every subject. Okay, that is a promise. Okay, sounds good. So where are we? Okay, I think I've scrolled a little. So yeah, so the question here is, once the syllabus is covered by early September, will there be more content provided? Yes. So we will give you tons of practice. Okay. So once the theory is covered, then we'll go back to each subject. Okay, and practice like crazy. Because as I told you, right? See, if you've started your preparation early, by let's say by mid or even late September, if you've finished all of your content, you have October, November, December, Jan, 4 months. Let's literally sit through those 4 months and practice. We'll have mock tests. We'll have all of that. Okay, we will ensure that you get more practice than you can imagine. Okay, we want you to do like tests regularly. Practice, revise, practice, revise, practice, revise. Okay, that's all matters, right? For the final exam, that's what matters, unfortunately or otherwise. Okay, so don't worry about it. You'll get constant support even after September. We are not going to leave your hand till the time you come out of the examination. So till the time you get into the examination hall. I can't help you once you get into the examination hall. It's your game then. Okay. So, okay, so sorry. Okay, sorry. So let me just okay. Can you upload proofs of algorithms as optional? Yes, so I'll certainly do that. So somebody's asking proofs of algorithms. The only reason I'm holding back on that is because each of that takes a considerable amount of time, and I really don't want to mess these things up. And I think we have shared a very nice slides, right? I think we have sent it to all of our registered students. We have sent a set of very nice slides. These slides were made by Professor Leeserson himself, who is one of the authors in CLRS book. Okay, these are some 780 slides or so, brilliant slides. These are slides for CLRS book. Some of these slides have proofs. Okay, so we will certainly cover some of the proofs slowly. Okay, because since it's not in GATE syllabus, we are not taking it up as high priority. And you too should not take it up as high priority because they're not part of GATE syllabus, to be honest. Okay, but if you still want to learn, we can point you in the right direction, and we'll certainly slowly we'll add that content. We are not in a hurry because I wanted to start C programming and finish off C, because again, we are short of time, right? Time is of the essence here, folks. Time is the biggest constraint. If we did not have time constraint, if imagine we are preparing for GATE for 4 years, imagine I was an instructor for you from BTech first year to BTech fourth year, then we would have done these subjects much, much more in detail. But unfortunately, we are not in that world. We have literally 6 months to 8 months to finish off the whole content. Okay, so I have to take some of these shortcuts, but so slowly, probably in the iteration too, once we finish all of the GATE content, I'll start working on adding more content as optional content. Not everybody should read it. If you have time, go ahead. If you're curious about it, go ahead and read it. Okay, sounds good. Again, by the way, in data structures algorithms, I think I've given proofs for most stuff, or logical arguments for most stuff. There are a couple of things that I've missed. Okay, couple of things. Okay, maybe graph algorithms, even graph algorithms for some of the algorithms, I've given the intuition from dynamic programming perspective or from greedy algorithms perspective. Of course, these intuitions are not rigorous proofs. Okay, if you want really, really rigorous proofs, CLRS is the okay. Even at top universities, don't do the step-by-step proof, because that would take like 1 hour per algorithm, probably even more, right? If you go step by step. So there is some overview type of proof that is to be done, and we'll certainly add that in the long run. Okay. So somebody is asking about, should I remember the algorithms line by line? No, that's never the idea. But you should be able to. So the core idea is this. The core idea is, have you understood the algorithm and the core concepts of it internally? Okay, you don't have to remember it line by line. But imagine if I don't show you the algorithm and if I ask you to write the pseudocode. Okay, by taking a few minutes, you should be able to write the pseudocode. Okay, and that comes from foundational understanding. Okay, for example, let me give you an example. Take the Prim's algorithm, right? How do you remember Prim's algorithm? The way I remember Prim's algorithm is very simple. Okay, I don't remember the line by line code. I'll tell you how I remember. Prim's algorithm tries to find the minimal spanning tree, right? And it simply uses the greedy approach because there is an optimal substructure and there is a greedy choice property, and it uses the cut property of spanning trees. That's all. These are the 3 pieces that I remember. That's all I remember, frankly speaking. I don't remember everything else. And I also remember that, yeah, it uses a special data structure, which is a priority queue. I remember just this high level stuff. And if you ask me to write code right now, I can actually pick up my book, think about from a greedy algorithm strategy, right? Think about from a greedy strategy and ask myself, how do I do this now? And I can construct the whole code on a white paper in like 10 minutes or so. Okay, maybe even less amount of time. Okay, so I don't remember the algorithm by heart, but I remember each of the concepts very, very clear on what is exactly happening. See, do you remember the prime number program line by line? No, you remember the concept behind the prime number program, and then you can reproduce it. Okay, so don't try to remember anything by heart. Understand the conceptual level stuff, and then you can easily write code very easily. Okay, so somebody's asking about discrete maths. Again, you might have seen in this chat itself, some people are asking us to do aptitude because they have exams. Again, folks, we'll talk to many of them and we'll take the majority vote here. Whatever most students want us to cover, we'll cover them. Okay. Again, I might not cover data structure, so discrete mathematics itself, because for those of them who have exams, discrete mathematics is very, very important for GATE. Okay. I don't want them to miss that. Okay. We have to respect everyone's priorities, especially exams is something that they can't skip, right? So we have to respect that, but don't worry about it. We will cover discrete mathematics in full detail. Okay, I already wrote most of the notes for discrete maths. It's something that I'm looking forward to. Like, I'm literally bubbling inside to teach math because that's my core area of interest, especially probability and statistics. Because as a machine learning scientist, I did a lot of probability and statistics. It's fun. Okay, so okay, sounds good. I think. Yes, so somebody's asking about the CLRS book PPT, which we've taken from Professor Leeserson himself. So yeah, you can do it parallel to the data structures algorithms course also. So when you learn a concept in our course, you can also go through the slides from that topic. Like for example, if you learned, let's say, quicksort, okay, go to the slides in the Leeserson in the Leeserson slides. Go check out the quicksort because they've done some very nice diagrams. Okay, brilliant. I mean, trust me, when I was preparing long ago, almost like what, in 2007, 2006, when I was preparing for GATE, I used the slides of Leeserson even then. Okay, so these slides are very old, but they're world-class slides. So for me to revise some of these concepts, I'll tell you how I used the CLRS slides when I was preparing for GATE. I used to do them for revision because they have some very nice diagrams and humans, and I have very good visual memory. So I used to use them for revision. These slides are, instead of me writing notes, of course, I wrote some notes, but these diagrams are so brilliant. I could quickly grasp them and I could quickly revise them. Okay, sounds good. So we are thinking about the soft copies. We are still working on them because we don't have soft copies right now. We'll have to start working on them. So soft copy notes, I strongly recommend you write your own notes because each of us have a different way of understanding. Trust me, your notes revision by yourself is going to be the fastest than your notes, than your revision of my notes. Okay, so we're still working on some of the notes, but please, I strongly recommend you write your own notes. Okay, so I strongly recommend that. Yeah, so yeah, some of the notes that I've written, I don't have a soft copy myself because I just write it on a blackboard, which is that UI, and then I erase it. Okay, so I don't have all of the soft copies, but we'll try to build some of these things up with help from our team. Okay. Yeah, I've moved back to Ink2Go. I think you must have seen. Yeah, I'm using Ink2Go back to Ink2Go. I had some hiccups because of computational resources. We'll be using Ink2Go going forward, and don't worry about it. Yeah, thank you, Sahana, for that. Okay, folks, I think we have spent quite a lot of good quality time discussing with each of you. So till the time we have some practice problems that I can solve live, we'll have these live chats and discussions. So see you again on Saturday. Okay, I think Saturday is a festival in some parts of India, like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. It's called Ugadi, which is the new year. I'll just inform you because it's a major holiday for us. So we'll see if the team can join and if we all can be present. We'll let you know. Okay. Worst case, we might have to take the day off, and we'll try to adjust that a day before or after. Okay. Sounds good, folks. See you. Thanks a lot for joining us, and have a good day. Bye bye.